Hi guys, thought I'd let you guys know what I've been doing today. Been a pretty productive day today, I'd say. Trying to get these glasses set so you guys can see this stuff because I keep going too low. Anyways, as you can see, got the stabilizer, elevator, what do you want to call it, kind of halfway mounted here. It's just stuck in place, it's not glued in. I still got to mount servos and stuff, and I got to drill a couple more holes in here to run wires and stuff. But I was drilling holes for the wooden dowels, so I stuck them on there, you know, get an effect anyways, right? Next thing, you guys can see the two engines are mounted on the engine pods. Well, what a trick that was. Well, to start with, I had to make a template. Okay. Now these engines, this is how they sit on the airplane. This is the top of the wing. The head faces down. Okay. Just so that's explained. I had to make a template. Okay. I make a template for these engines. So what I did was I took the engine mounts and I used CA glue and I glued them over here with the engine sitting on them, and I got the right measurement and everything. I glued them on here. Okay, first I drilled a hole over here like this. That's on this side. I drilled one over here. Okay. Then after I glued them on there, I got my placement and everything for my engines. I scribed the 4 holes out here. Drilled them out, and I mounted the engine mounts to this board. Okay. Then I had to open this up for the back of the motor. Okay. Because the back of the motor, move this in the light. Here's your throttle plate here. The choke is over there on that side. The fuel inlet. Let's see here. This is easier. My big finger. The fuel inlet is right there. Choke. Throttle. Okay? So I had to open that up to accommodate that. Plus, there's 2 bolts on the back of the carburetor that bolt the carburetor to the back of the motor. Those don't sit flush, of course. Next thing I had to do was I had to have 135 millimeters from the hub, engine hub here, to the firewalls. 13.5 centimeters if that's what you want. Millimeters is what I used, 135 of them. Anyways, I don't have a ruler that's in millimeters, so all my rulers are all in centimeters, so I ended up with 13.5 centimeters. Well, like I said, there's bolts on the back of the carburetor over here and inside. As it turns out, this engine, lo and behold, is exactly 135 millimeters from the back of the carburetor to the front of the hub. Easy, right? Cool. But I still had to open this up, you know, for the linkage and fuel line, whatever have you, to make room for the bolts that are in the back of the carburetor. So after I did that, I just set the engine down there flush up against here, drilled my 4 mounting bolts, mounting holes, 1, 2, 3, 4, drilled them, mounted the motors, unbolted them off of here. I got both motors mounted on the engine mounts. Next thing I had to do was find the engine center line. You know, where the prop shaft is. As you can see, I've got it scribed out here. Not too difficult, because there's little lines in the engine mounts for these measurement here. And I used the center rib on the top of the engine for this. Now, how do we make that go on here? Okay. What I did, okay, I'll get my little pointer again, which is a pencil. From here to here is exactly 3 inches. So I went 1.5 inches, put a mark there, put a mark there, put a mark there, put a mark there. Then I took a straight edge, like this, and like this, and drew my X. Next thing I did was take my engine template, lined it up on the 4 lines on the engine pad, drew my hole out, marked my 4 holes for the engine mount, cut this out, drilled these out, bolted it right on there. Voila, perfectos. So the engines are mounted on there, perfect. Took me a while to do it, but that's what you gotta do, I guess. In the meantime, my girlfriend was down here helping me this morning, and she cut the canopies out for me because I'm no good at doing stuff like that. So she cut the 2 canopies out, the mount for the light on the back, plus these things here, which I was telling you about the last time in the last video. They go right here. Let me get I think it's a bigger one, because there's 2 sizes I found out. There's smaller ones and there's bigger ones. These go right here, like so. I'm going to paint these silver, and like I said, I was going to mount lights in here, one on each side. Plus, if I decide to go ahead and mount the camera, you know, well, the last thing I did was fixed up my letter here that was chipped. I took a couple different shades of red, mixed them together, got it as close as I can. It's still a little wet. I don't want to touch it yet. You might be able to see that it's still a little, not quite the right color. But, c'est la vie, it's close enough. Can't find anything at the store close enough to match. Well, that's it. That's what I did today. Next week, I'm going to mount the retracts and the servos for the engines, and drill the rest of the holes for the dowels, slide everything together, glue everything up. It'll look like an airplane next week when I'm done, hopefully, if I got time next weekend. And that's about it. So I hope you guys have a good weekend. Well, the only other thing I got to do, the muffler here sticks out a little bit. I'm going to have to cut a hole in here in the cowling for the exhaust stack to stick out, because as you can see, don't fit on there. So I'm going to have to guess where the hell to drill a hole now for them. Hopefully I do it right the first time. Anyways, that's it for today. Have a good weekend, what's left of it, and we'll talk to you later.